All right, since we've pretty much achieved our goal for the season already, I'm gonna go through some maintenance stuff on the car today. I'm gonna see if I can figure out what the trans leak is, look at my grounding setup currently, see if we can sort that out in a different way or route just ground stuff differently to try to cure the noise issue. I'm gonna look at maybe rerunning the drive-by-wire harness just to try to see if I can get that. Maybe that's too close to the ignition coils. I'm not real sure. Gonna go through a bunch of that kind of stuff. First thing we're gonna start with is just try to see what the trans leak is, and go from there. Oh, I gotta make the scramble button work. A lot of little stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna dive into this thing and get going on it and see what we find. Alright, so that actually looked to be a pretty easy fix. The O-ring was like protruding like you saw. Pulled it off, cleaned it up, and the O-ring looked good, so I stuck it back together. The fitting actually went in there further. There's a little recess in the cooler side to hold the O-ring. For some reason, I think when I put it on, the O-ring wasn't in that recess, so I was able to clean stuff off, put it back together, and the fitting tightened up, felt better. We'll actually obviously have to check that once we're ready to fire the thing up. I'll just keep an eye on it, but pretty easy fix for that one. All right, one of the other things I've been needing to finish up that I really haven't made the time to do is these two wires, these two outputs here. One of these is for an intercooler pump output, one of these is for a transcooler output. How I have them set up right now is just off a toggle up front, which is fine for, you know, the majority of the time, but I'd really like to run the transcooler pretty much whenever the trans temp's over 100 degrees and the car is running, and I'd really like to make the intercooler pump thing is just going to be a fail-safe if I forget to turn it on before making a pass, so it's going to come on at like 100% throttle basically. Right now I have them both teed or wired together over here out of this one output wire, so they're on that toggle over there, and what that means is like because I don't want to run the intercooler pump because I fill it with ice like all the time when the car's running, a lot of times when I'd like to have the trans fan on, it's shut off because I have the intercooler pump. I don't want to run the intercooler pump yet to melt all the ice in the core, right? So me separating these, having the ECU control the trans cooler and the intercooler pump fail-safe setup is going to allow me to have the trans fan on pretty much whenever the car's running and not just when the intercooler pump's on. So I'm gonna get that wired up real quick. I'm putting a diode in the trigger from the toggle switch to prevent any kind of backfeed. That way when the transcooler comes on, the trans fan comes on, it doesn't activate the intercooler pump at the same time. So I've got some diodes, gonna put those in line there, and then yeah, run those other two trigger wires over here, and then that should be pretty straightforward and simple for that. Alright, so that's all wired. Got the diodes in there. Kind of runs over there. I'm not gonna loom it right now. I don't have any split loom left. Yeah, so that's all done. Next thing on the docket is getting the ground situated. So this harness is wired when the Haltech side of the harness is wired with one ground goes to the battery, and then they've got a couple other grounds that go to the engine. Their schematic online is a little bit is different than that. There's the schematic how they tell you to ground everything is to ground everything to one point, yet in the harness they had 2 different grounding points. So I'm gonna move all of the grounds to the battery connection at the engine block. So all the grounds are gonna ground to the same point that the cable from the battery ground to the engine. I'm gonna get moving all of those stuff to there. Hopefully that will help with our noise issues we're seeing. But we're gonna start there for that, and yeah, I'll get that done and then move on to the next thing. I think really the next thing is to pull the driver's seat out and start putting the interior back in the car. So yeah, gonna get moving on it. All right, I got those ground wires all moved. They're all in this loom here, which goes down to where the battery connects to the engine down on the block. Basically it's at the motor mount on that side. So yeah, next step is to pull the door bars out of this thing, passenger seat, center console, and lay the carpet back in here. Put this thing back in, you know, a little bit more streetcar mode, I guess. So I'm gonna get working on that. See if we can get the interior back in it today. All right, we got the seats and stuff back in it. Got the back seat back in it. Obviously, it's a little hard to see in here. It's not lit real well, but back in the streetcar mode on the inside. Anyway, I still gotta finish up. I forgot I've got to figure out why the scramble button isn't currently working. So I haven't put the glove box back on. That's why some of the wiring's hanging out there still. But yeah. So the next step is going to be to put the full exhaust back on it. We'll pull the hood dump off. I do have another hood without the hole cut in it. So we'll get the other hood on here after we get the full exhaust put back on it. I think that's gonna be next week's challenge at this point, or maybe during the week if we decide we wanna go testing on Friday, but getting it back to being more of a street car. I still haven't wired the AC, so I need to do that yet still, but yeah, nonetheless, made some progress today. Curious to see what the ground difference is gonna be. I'm not gonna be able to really test that though until we actually take the thing for a spin. Probably not gonna make any, gnarly hits on the street with it, but take it to the track soon and see if the noise issue's cleaned up in the data log and it shifts and we don't have any drive-by wire codes after a couple passes. Hopefully the grounding stuff we did will sort that out, but yeah, I mean, that's really it for this one. If I do the exhaust, I'll tag into this a bit, but I don't plan to do that, so that'll probably be in the next video. We'll put the full system back on it, get the scramble button working, maybe run through some two-step testing at on the bracket race or the 10.0 style tune-up, which is basically I'm gonna drop it from like 5,020 pounds like it's at now to like probably 4,002 pounds, just see how quick we can get there. I'd like to be able to stage the car like pretty much like a naturally aspirated deal for the 10.0 stuff. So that'll be the plan, and yeah, we'll go from there.